I'm going to tell you here why entry model is overrated. And you don't really necessarily need to think so much about entry model, and there's other things that you need to be to be thinking about. You don't necessarily need a good entry to make a lot of money in the market. So let's talk about that. Appreciate you, much love. Traders, welcome in. Trav here. Let me know what you think about recording here instead of, you can see behind me in the corner where I have been trading or recording my trading videos sometimes. So let's talk about it. There's so much emphasis in where to enter and how to get a good entry, and I believe it's not very important to trading profitably, and there's other things that are much more important. So what is a good entry? Would be an entry that has, when people think of a good entry, it would be an entry that has very little drawdown against it, or has very little drawdown on the low time frame against it. So, and I think one of the problems, especially with entry models, so many of the entry models, especially I see this in crypto, fixate on reversals, where you're trying to buy at the very bottom wick or you're trying to sell at the very top wick and then have like a no drawdown entry. And I think this is just not the way to go. Because what I found, you guys know I have a computer back tested system, and for that system, depending on the asset, the average hold time of a trade, of a long trade, is between 90 and 120 days. So what that means is the entry is a lot less important than what you do over the next 100 days. The trade management. And what is the trade management? Well, we'll come back to that in a minute. But what I'm telling you is what's a lot more important than getting a good entry is having a very accurate signal that the market is going to move over the next 1, 3, 5 days in a certain direction, right? Because you can get a good entry and have no drawdown, but the thing never goes in your favor because there's not actually a trend or a powerful signal, right? So I see a lot of traders, they trade with an entry model but no high time frame accurate signal, and I would much rather have a high time frame accurate signal than a good entry. So for example, one of the things that I found is that's really important, whether it's a breakout or a reversal, the daily close is really important. The data shows this. What I mean is, if you're looking at an old important level and price comes up to it, if price breaks the level, what happens? Well, we don't know. If it's possibly a breakout, it's possibly going to be a fake out and a reversal. Well, what I find is, what the data shows is waiting. You might think, if it's a breakout long, I want to get the best possible entry. I'm going to just limit order right at the high, and you would get a better entry this way. Or you might think, I think it's going to fail for XYZ reason. I'm going to have a limit order. I'm going to try to sell the top just as it's going up. I'm going to try to sell it and hold with a stop and catch the reversal. Well, what I found, for instance, is forget the entry model. Confirmation does matter. If you have a daily close above the level, a breakout is much more likely. If you have a daily close under the level, a failure is much more likely. So waiting for price to reveal itself, and at that point, when you have an accurate signal, you can enter anywhere, and what's more important is that you have a good stop loss and that you hold the trade. What is a good stop loss? Well, people spend so much time on entry and so little time on stop loss. Well, it depends. I'll just say that it depends, but it's usually wider than you think. Not always. So we come back to these trades for my system, where it's 90-day hold. So you get an accurate signal, you get in the trend, you can buy anywhere. Your stop, you might be underwater for parts of it, but you hold as the trend progresses in your favor, you add to it, you advance your stop, right? So stop loss management and how you're going to take profit is more important than the entry. Also, what's more important than the entry is asset selection and direction. So for instance, you're going to get strong bullish uptrends on stocks, on the best stocks, on gold at times, and on Bitcoin. But when you don't get the same trend on, say, Euro GBP, because these are just two related allied countries' currencies. There's not going to be a strong trend over time. So forget the entry model, right? Do you have confirmation for a breakout? Well, I would take the breakout long on the NASDAQ. I wouldn't take it on Euro GBP or Forex. So forget entry model, focus on getting a good accurate signal with confirmation, focus on where your stop loss needs to be, and focus on picking the right asset and having a take profit strategy, and forget everything else. Not forget it, but it just doesn't matter. So you see how, like, if you wait for confirmation, you're never going to get the best entry, right? But you're going to get a more accurate signal. There's going to be fewer times if you jump the gun for a better entry, right? Like, you want the failed breakdown and you want to sell over the level, so when the signal happens, you're already in profit. Well, the signal might not happen, right? Or you want to buy early so that if there's a breakout, you're in profit, you have a good entry. Well, what if it reverses and then you have the signal is showing a reversal, right? It's better to wait for confirmation. It's better to get a really accurate signal and then let your stop play out. And you don't have the best entry, but it's okay. You have a more accurate signal. So very important stuff that most people forget. If you want to check out the system, there's a link to that below. Also, if you're a beginner trader, I'm opening up one-on-one mentorships if you're a beginner trader, and I'll throw a link to that down below as well. So go check that out if you want help. Appreciate you. Much love. Talk to you soon. Peace.